Hello, welcome to Matters of DeCorum. I'm Scott Corum. This is what matters to me. I am recording this, hopefully the day it comes out, May the 10th, 2021. This marks tomorrow as my 53rd birthday, which I'm really happy to hit, because there were some times over the past few years I wasn't 100% certain I was going to make this one. But here I am. Probably going to be wearing this one throughout the most of the rest of my videos. Sent myself to the emergency room not wearing this in my last set of videos, and I'm not a young man anymore. Be that as it may, you look over the things you're grateful for, and one thing that has really helped me, elevated me, propelled me through the past few years, through the things that have been difficult and painful, or just crushingly mediocre, are the people that I regularly and routinely associate with. Fun fact, I am as honest and as open as I believe I can be on this channel. I do not share all of my views. There are some topics I don't cover directly for many reasons. Religion, politics, I used to, but these days it just doesn't seem worth it. And life's too short, really. But even given that there's a limited number of topics I cover, I limit my conversations to certain bounds of public decency and good taste. If you have gamed with me, you know that this is not the case for my daily life. I have what is known in the industry as a dirty mind. It goes places that folks ought not to go in polite company. I was raised in the era when I was in elementary school. I first discovered Benny Hill on late night television. And geez, many of you may have absolutely no idea who Benny Hill is, but you do know a piece of music called Yakety Sax. And that humor, that British adult humor, which calling the humor of Benny Hill adult is kind of a misnomer, because while it has what we currently consider to be adult themes in sexuality and whatnot, it was purely juvenile and childish in all the right ways, and it kind of molded me a little bit. All of this is to say that in my day-to-day, when I am with my gaming groups, when I'm hanging with the folks that propel me through my life, lift me and carry me from time to time, things get a little raunchy. And there's a time and a place. If I'm running a game at a convention or at the friendly local gaming store, as I intend to do again very soon, I have to put limiters on, as it's a good idea to have a set of limiters. It's a good idea to have a set of filters that you can apply to yourself every so often. And there might be topics you don't cover. You might slyly allude to one or two, but there might be people at the table who are A, underage, or B, just don't want to deal with that kind of material at the game table. It might stress them or annoy them for some reason. There are all kinds of tastes out there, and my tastes I really hope are not entirely mainstream. Um, because lots of people probably shouldn't think this way. A good number do, but lots of people probably shouldn't. um, and it behooves me to be sensitive to that. Those conversations go someplace else. We're walking out of the store, we get together online and start discussing things, and a reference or two here slips, and that conversation turns into something a little bit more open and graphic. That can happen, and has any number of times. But where it's in that open public forum, well, I have an open public persona. You're seeing it now. And this is the set of filters I use when I'm running games in those environments. When I am running games privately, it is another matter entirely. This is not to say that I do not tend to appreciate the limits at the table. I will go to some lengths to make sure that I know what those limits are. Whether I'm a player or a dungeon master, whether I'm someone who is um, participating in the orchestration of the game, or whether I'm just a participant, I'll carefully try to gauge that room before I let loose the full totality of the depths of my imagination. Um, if you've read some of the Hot Chicks material, you may have seen this part of my personality poking through. These references I will go to, things that people don't always throw into a role playing game scenario, that I will casually lob every other Tuesday. Um, because that's my style. Having gauged the room, then I'll engage. I'll engage fully, or as fully as the room will bear. And if there's a subject that someone finds objectionable or upsetting, uh, I can skip that. Everything that comes into my head ain't got to go out my mouth. Everything that comes in my head shouldn't come out my mouth. God, sometimes I'm genuinely terrible. Cleared out of Fuddruckers once, writing a song that had objectionable material in it. I thought I was just doing it for the small group of friends I was with, but looked up and turned out that no, other people had obviously been listening and had exited from the room, and I did not feel particularly good about that. It gets referenced a lot amongst the friends who were there, but yeah, yeah, you gotta keep a grip on it sometimes. There is something of a fear out there that of you're being hemmed in by a culture, that something is that your creativity or your ability to voice yourself might be limited by other people imposing limitations on your conversation. And no, that probably shouldn't be the case. You should be imposing limits on your conversation. Um, I impose limits on mine. There are subjects that don't gotta come out at that table. There are forums for discussing these things. And if you want to find those forums, or cultivate a group where the discussions you want to have are open and appreciated, and other people can engage or are enthusiastic to engage, that's awesome. Not every table you sit down at is some place to expose every single one of your views and ideas. That's why the groups that I currently have are groups I deeply appreciate. I'm going to mention 4 of them. I'm going to talk about groups specifically today because I've referred to them from time to time, but I haven't really listed them out. And tomorrow's my birthday, and these are people that have helped me to see it, whether they know it or not, whether they realize it or not, how very much I really appreciate um, their presence in my life. And this is a way of thanking them for those times and the time I have ahead, in no particular order. There is a group I will refer to as Mike's Garage. This group has not met in over a year, and certain members of the group are no longer geographically close. We may be able to find some electronic uh, means of communication, but we haven't even discussed what conditions we can actually meet again under. This group met in Manhattan Beach, and it was a Saturday or every other Saturday thing. Every other Saturday, I think. It's been a year and a month, and it's a conglomeration of different groups that met at greater distance. People ended up, a certain amount of us ended up being closer in. And so we started to meet and played some amazing games. One Ring, Marvel Superheroes, a lot of Victory System, for which I'm really grateful. Other people ran Victory at that table, which was just amazing to see. It's wonderful when other people run the Victory System in front of me, because I love seeing that it is as useful as I believe it is. Some cyberpunk stuff, some Warhammer 40k material, Star Trek. We kind of went all over the place, and every Dungeons and Dragons we did my first 0 to 20 campaign in 5e. Every single game was a winner. Every single game generated stories that I can still come up with. We had our Mike, our amazing host, and that whole group met in a garage. And, good weather, bad weather, rain or sun, or loud neighbors, and none of it mattered. We could walk over to pick up a pizza or some stuff from the bodega, and that's one of those groups. There's something about these groups that's in common, which I'll share in a bit. But the term for it is that's a group I could trust as a player and a dungeon master. I'll get back to what that means exactly. There's Mike's Garage. I'm not going to talk about individual group members. If you guys would like to out yourselves in the comments, if you happen to watch this, I haven't asked for permission to say your names. It's the Mike's Garage group, and I talked about Mike's Garage, so I'll say Mike without any further context. But if you'd like to mention that you are a part of a given group or more than one group in the comments, I'd love to see you. There is, I was talking about 4, and I'm trying to remember which 4 I meant. I mean, there is only really, this hasn't fully kicked in yet today. Working on it. My monthly Death Wish supply came in, so that's my first Death Wish cold brew in a little bit. Deep breath. Friendly local gaming store group I will call the Naughty Crew, KNOTTY, named themselves in a 0 to 20 D&D campaign that I ran at the Friendly Local Gaming Store. For a Friendly Local Gaming Store group, I managed to get very open with that particular group, both as a player and as a dungeon master. I've run some Victory for them, and I've played some D&D with them. I mostly ran that 0 to 20 campaign, which is just one of the most fun things. That group has been from 7 to 12 people at any given point in time. And I've run D&D for a table of 12 people. despite all of my own personal rules. And it worked because it's a really, really good group, and very diverse, and just so many thoughts and ideas and concepts coming together over and over again. Just so much fun, because it's one of those groups where you can take chances and throw things out there, and someone will pick it up and run with it. Just sparkling. At a time when I wasn't sure I'd be able to pick up D&D again, certainly not face to face someplace, and to go to this gaming store in the mall next to where I live, and to be able to start this up and have just people show up. And some of those folks split off as dungeon masters on other nights and started running other games, and this little community started. It was just so spectacular, and continues to be to this day. We're off tomorrow night, family stuff, and that happens from time to time. But the group is still there, and continues to be. And I'm looking forward to the next game. I'm playing a Squirrel Folk Barbarian at the moment, and using a voice changer, and it's just, oh god, I hope I'm not using it at the moment. I'll have to re-record this entire thing. Well, we'll see, I suppose. So that's the Tuesday night group. I have mentioned the Lair Action more than once. And the Lair Action started as a pickup game at the friendly local gaming store, and then just turned it. It's a group of folks that are all half my age, literally about half my age, but professional and experienced and spirited and talented in ways I really appreciate. And if you have been following Days of Our Monks, the podcast that we do, as part of the Lair Action, you've seen some of the first early good stuff that we've done, and more stuff is going to be coming out over years. It's the group that I actually produce material with. And so that's playing the games, which is fun and awesome, and then sound editing and adding sound effects and chopping stuff up, and editing for content, which is things that are duties spread across the table, and promotion and production and getting things up, doing the website, and it's a wonderful exercise, and I'm looking forward to lots of that stuff. That group has re-energized certain portions of my desire to do this, not just as a hobby, but as a career. And that's 3, and that means there can only be one more. And this one deserves some special mention because it's Warriors of Wednesday. Oh my god. I have very few friends that at some level of the definition I don't consider family, but the Warriors of Wednesday are my close family. The group grows or shrinks from time to time. We have lost people together. We've gained people. We have moved around from place to place, and we have had to endure an existence at a distance from one another, yet finding a closeness online. These are the people who I'm fortunate that these people are my first choice for who I would have at my back in a bar fight, because they are also the people I would most likely actually get into the bar fight around. Some of them were there when I cleared out of Fuddruckers, just saying. And it is one of those groups that I can be the most me with. I cannot come up with a concept that is so out of the depths of my imagination, or so far from the mainstream of what people consider decent and rational thought, that someone else in the group does not either pick it up and laugh, or top me right there and challenge me to go deeper. Um, and that, support for the person that I can be every day out in the open is an amazing thing. And I love that kind of support. Support for the person that I am when I am at my worst is enlightening and encouraging and transformative. It's the kind of support that builds up that foundation and raises the rest of you even higher. My son is a part of that group. And as a result, he has gotten to know things about his father that, maybe some sons wouldn't. Things I didn't know about mine. And as an extension of that, I have gotten a much clearer view of how my son thinks, feels, and believes. All of which makes me very proud and a little worried all at the same time. And people join this group, and they are very quickly not just friends, but family. And we have our disagreements. We have our angry discussions, rarely, but occasionally. And then we get back together and we keep building things. Over the past year, we've been doing most of our gaming online, playing online games, Ark Survival Evolved, Conan Exiles, most recently, which is just because these people are talented and creative. And when you have a game where you can build things and go out and kill stuff, and you can see people at their best in both of these, this is one of the groups that I spent 4 or 5 nights a week with them for the past year, and it has been life-saving. I said at the beginning of this that I would talk about what it means when I trust someone as a player and a DM. When I trust a group as a player and a DM. All of these groups, incidentally, I trust to this level. As a dungeon master, it is no surprise that I do a lot of improvisational dungeon mastering. A lot of the stuff comes from my immediate creative flow, as opposed to having detailed notes and everything planned out. I've got a lot of Legos up in here for adventure gaming, and I will put them together on the spot. I've gotten fast at it over the years. And I do not think about difficulty or challenge rating or solutions to the problems that I throw. I will throw things that I don't know the way out of. Often, I'll throw opponents I don't know how to beat. And as a dungeon master, if you sat me down, it's like, okay, now that you've thrown this, how do you expect people to defeat it? And I will say, I have no idea. Because I trust these groups to find the way to do it. That is part of the enjoyment I get out of working with groups at this level, that I don't have to have a solution to a problem or a puzzle or a monster. I don't have to know what the way out is, because they'll find one. If they can't find one, they'll make one. And watching that group of people who I care about and I'm interested in the thought processes of people I would have and have had just conversations with, watching them think their way through these things creatively as a group, in character, a little metagaming, which is fine for me. Just how do we get past this? And either finding these laser simple solutions that I missed completely in my conception, and okay, that appears to be the way. Well done. Points for efficiency. Or these over-the-top, super complicated, yet deadly, effective, grand schemes, which I could never have imagined to begin with. And well done. That's amazing. Points for creativity. If you can't tell, I am a very lucky man to be the game master for such talented groups of players, and lucky to be such a player amongst such talented groups of game masters. Groups for whom there are, I'd like to make up this kind of character, and the answer is usually, okay, let's see how that goes. Or if there is a set of limits, there is a good reason for that set of limits, and I'm happy to work within them. As I enter my 53rd year, you can judge how well you're doing by the quality of the people you keep time with. I'm doing really well. There is a laundry list of problems that I need to deal with personally, but the energy and the desire to deal with these problems, the spiritual strength of being able to just smile and endure and try to not only be encouraged, but be as encouraging as I can be as I go through things. That comes from the people I spend time with. My close family is super supportive, and I could not be happier. I got a bag full of action figures from my wife and son for my birthday, and that's just astonishing to me. The action figures that I'd asked for, not expensive ones, but really interesting ones, and I like toys. And at the same time, to have all these extended family groups that genuinely care. When you mention there's a problem, there are responses of care and concern and suggestions as suggestions are warranted at that time. And so many different ideas and opinions and minds thinking about it that sometimes a good solution presents itself. And other times, the care alone is an aid. I'm a lucky and blessed individual. And that is the people. On top of this, there is you. People who have expressed genuine interest and concern in who and what I am and what I do, who have asked my opinions about things or for the answer to questions in areas that are my field or tangential to my field, and that there is concern, that there are people who genuinely want to know, who will spend 20 minutes a week or so watching me do this. Thank you. Thank you very much. All of this leads me to having a very rich life. And I hope to continue it for, if not another 53 years, although I don't know, I come from some pretty hardy Nebraska farm stock. I might make 106. Odds aren't, great, but I could. I'm not as young as I once was, but I'm not as old as I'm going to get. And I hope you're along for the ride, because I'm looking forward to doing some really, really interesting stuff. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Follow me along in this deeply personal but hopefully informative journey. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Didn't like the video, give me a thumbs down. Feedback is feedback. If there's anything you'd like to hear me talk about, or any stories from any particular group you'd like to hear, subjects you'd like to hear me cover, questions you'd like to hear me answer, leave me a comment below. I will love getting your comment. You'll love leaving me one. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, why not? My channel is awesome. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you do hit the subscribe button, you might want to hit the notification bell so that you're alerted when my videos become available. If you'd like to support the channel in a more substantial manner, I invite you to hit me up my Patreon page, www.patreon.com/ScottCorum, and consider donating. Absolutely anything helps. Allows me to make better videos more often. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I'm Scott Corum. This is what has mattered to me, and I'll see you next time on the next Matters of DeCorum.